This is the first of 4 slideshows which have been inspired by Peter Senge's book, The Fifth Discipline. It has been made for the Real Idea Shop knowledge base and complements the change management body of knowledge. There is a wealth of other information and resources you can access by signing up as a member. Most organisations see themselves as machines that use precisely engineered processes to achieve their aims. That only works if you live in a world that is predictable and you can discover what caused what to happen. If you know this, you can do more or less of it. In order to predict and control their world and deliver results, organisations try to identify cause and effect relationships. That way they know how to get a bigger or smaller effect and design the processes they need accordingly. Because action at a distance seems mysterious, they do this by abstracting events which happen at the same time, in the same place, and put them in sequence. The idea is that causes always come before events, and most of the time this works in a stable environment. But when it doesn't, things can go very badly wrong very quickly, which can threaten the organisation's existence, often when this is least expected. Sales grow exponentially and then suddenly take a nosedive. Change programs which were working suddenly run into the sand. Problems that were fixed reappear, but much worse. Boom is followed by a banking crisis. So what is going on? When organisations split reality into fragments, it's like smashing a mirror and then putting the pieces together again to try and see the same reflection. What you lose is the underlying interconnectedness of things and the complex way that they interact. Seen from this systems perspective, reality doesn't happen in straight lines of events that happen close together and are linked by simple cause and effect relationships. Reality, claims Senge, happens in circles of influence, where effects can become their own causes in feedback loops, and these loops can themselves influence each other over time and space. Senge's vision of this interconnected reality is radical, but any interconnection between events that influence each other means that organisations can't even in principle predict what will happen next. Astronomers and physicists call this the three-body problem. When you have two bodies influencing each other, you can work out what will happen. But add just one more and you can't. So imagine you are dealing with hundreds, thousands or millions of people and events interacting not just with gravity, but through multiple influences. From this more complex perspective, where prediction and control break down, the mechanistic understanding of organisations doesn't work. From this perspective, the organisation is more like an organism that is trying to survive by staying in balance with its ever-changing environment and to grow. Just like in nature, there are booms as populations grow rapidly and then crashes as reinforcing loops are followed by balancing ones. If these patterns can be understood, the organisation need not just react to events. If the organisation learns to see the complex interconnected system it is part of and to see the patterns that influence its future, it can learn when and how to act to create its own future. Double loop learning, as Chris Igeris would say. But this learning needs to involve the whole organisation, which has to adapt and survive. For this to happen and the fifth discipline to bring about a learning organisation, 4 practices are important. From this systems perspective, the people, departments and organisations are all interconnected, and together they are part of a wider system which includes their environment. This isn't a world that can be commanded and controlled because of its unpredictability. So the ideal is an organisation that is self-organising from the bottom up And the four principles Senge introduces are the means by which the learning organisation can do this. The individuals within it need to practice personal mastery. This is the ability to be true to what really matters to them while seeing the world for what it really is. This causes creative tension that is the motive force for them to learn how to bring the two closer together. To see the world the way it really is so that they can learn how to deal with it means learning about the assumptions or mindset they use to see it that way so that they can be sure that it makes sense. Double loop learning. But you don't want to have a lot of empowered, self-organising people around who don't share the vision the organisation has of what it wants to do. This shared vision, though, isn't something that can be imposed and people sign up to. It has to be the way that the individuals can achieve what matters to them. And with this shared vision, these people can learn together as teams of shared minds to take the best approach that will increase positive growth and achievement of what matters to them individually. I will be exploring these practices in more detail in the next slideshow in this series. If you want to find out more about them now, why not sign up for membership to the Real Idea Shop, and I can send you a link to the Change Management Knowledge Base.